Al Foran here with Usyk TV. I'm here with my good pal, the legend that is Sonny Edwards. How are you, my man?
Yeah, I'm all good. Ain't got much to complain about. It's been a good week so far. I've been busy for the last couple and yeah, enjoying it.
How are things post-retirement? How are you feeling the last couple of weeks?
Really good, to be honest. It's felt like a massive relief off my shoulder. I've had a 20-year-long boxing career. I've competed at every year possible in the amateurs, every national championship I possibly could have entered, I entered. Every time I've got out of the ring, as a pro, I've only really thought about getting back in the ring. So it's been a grind. It has, and my body didn't really over the last few years keep up with how it should have. Slowly started breaking down, slowly started falling apart, and yeah, there hasn't been a fight for years that I've been 100%. And yeah, I think I've done what I set out to do. Probably way more than I ever expected really to get in my division. And yeah, I think it's the right time, and I've put myself in a position where, with the commentary, I manage about 10 fighters now. Yeah, I'm in a great place.
Brilliant. And I said that to you as well. I said, I think anything you do after boxing, you'll succeed in, because you're a very interesting individual, very intelligent as well. I think what I liked a lot about that post-fight interview, because I connected with it as well, because I'm a father, and I know you talked about your kids, and there were things that you missed out on, because boxing took over. There's a massive sacrifice to this career, and I think as a father, I kind of connected with you on that level. Not that I'm a boxer. I don't. You sacrifice so much to this sport. It must be great to kind of have that time in your hands now.
Yeah, because every time I'm training for a fight, it's 8, 10, 12 weeks, pretty much with my whole life centered around preparing for one date in the future, and it absorbs you really. I mean, I'd still see my kids every other weekend, and try and be there for them where I can. But training camps away, or spending 2 weeks in America before a fight, and with dates, I've had to miss things that I never would have dreamed of missing. Birthdays, sports days, loads of things, and not being able to be there and look after my kin when they're poorly, and seeing them do stuff for a phone for the first time. It has been challenging, and I think when they were younger, when they were both like babies, they can't really speak to you. It's one thing, but and when they're just like a potato that cries, it's one thing. But when they're asking where you are, when you're coming home, why you can't be there for their birthday or something, it's heartbreaking. And I was a son, and my dad was always there, and sometimes I just feel like my kid's missing out a little bit, and the juice weren't really worth the squeeze by the end of it. And I think I lost that ego of really wanting to be seen as the best in the world and do this and achieve this, and all from the ring. And I started getting just as much enjoyment out of putting my friends or fighters that trust me with their career in the same sort of positions. And I know I can add a lot of value to those around me. I've done nothing but focus on boxing, preparing for a boxing fight, the business of boxing, for my whole adult life and then some. So yeah, it's nice that now I've got more of a balance where I can pick and choose. I can turn up to the fight for one of my fighters, even on the fight day, if I can get the fight week covered by one of the team. And yeah, I'm in a great place, and I'm very grateful for boxing. There's probably why there's no bitterness in me. I've lost a couple of times, but it is what it is. There was a lot of times when it was the other person going home as the loser, and I was the number one in the division for about 2.5 years. I've been a world champion for over 2.5 years, and yeah, it took its toll.
I think you should be very proud of what you've achieved, and I think you should be commended for the decision that you made. I'm here 3 days, and I'm getting pictures and videos of my kids, and it hits you right in the heart. So I can only imagine all of those training camps, all that commitment that you put in. I completely understand it, and everyone does.
Yeah, and it's all right, you know, when people ask you what your reason of doing this for, and you say, oh, for my kids and to give them the best life. But I know genuinely in my heart their best life is me around as much as possible, and being able to be with them, and you know, being able to take them on holidays and share experiences and see their first things, teach them how to ride a bike, teach them how to play football, teaching them, just spending time with them is what they need. They don't need anything but love and attention. And now I'm in more of a position, okay, look, I've been away for the last week doing this, but obviously boxing is still my graft. It just won't be as demanding or as time or place restrictive as it has been before.
Well, you're very relaxed and you're enjoying. You did a bit of punditry last week, I think, for DAZN, wasn't it, in Monte Carlo?
Yeah, and the week before that, I did the GBM DAZN show on in Sheffield. The week before that, I was headlining, so I've been busy.
You've been busy,
and that's what it felt like. It was really feeling like I was getting so much done when I was out of camp, but then when I was getting in camp, it was like everything was grinding to a stop, and I was enjoying this side of the life more than sitting at home for 9 weeks, 10 weeks at a time, going to the gym, coming back, going to the gym, coming back. And yeah, it just started balancing. And then when my body was falling apart, a lot more doubts creeping in than had ever been there before. I couldn't train the way I used to be able to train. Like, my body just didn't allow me to. And I was having to rest a lot more. I was having to miss out on certain things. I was having to not do certain things. And yeah, I think this is the right time for me. And yeah, last night I was sat up with Prince Nazim, and he said, yeah, 28 is the age to retire. And I thought, yeah, well, if you say it, then who am I to argue with that?
Well, that's the thing. From someone, and like many others who I really enjoyed watching you. I like such an enjoyable boxer to watch. It's going to be very enjoyable to hear your insights as well, and punditry, you know.
Yeah, because I've spent, since I was 9 years old, I've been fully submerged in boxing. I mean, even as a kid, whether me or my brother was fighting on a show or just another lad from the gym, we'd be travelling up and down the country to be at those shows. My dad loved it, we loved it, and that was my socialising as a kid. You know, until 14, I didn't really have much freedom. My dad had me under lock and key, really. He knew where I was. If there was a party I was going to, he was speaking to the parents, finding out what time to pick me up from. He was dropping me there, picking me up, and I was just accounted for. Then I had a bit of freedom when I lived with my mum, and I quit boxing for a bit, but then I found it again. And maybe, and this isn't me trying to be like, oh yeah, really I'm coming back, but I'm just saying retired. Maybe, like, I'm 28, I'm young. Maybe if my body does recover and I do find that spark again, then who knows?
Reignite that passion. Yeah.
I will never say never, but I am too good to be getting in the ring when I know that I'm not as good now as I used to be, if that makes sense. And I'm aware enough and accountable enough to know the difference in me. So yeah, I will leave it to the fighters that really have that eye of the tiger, really have that wind under their heels. And yeah, and I'll support them as much as possible. I've got a lot of friends that, I'm not going to say rely on me, but, you know, maybe benefit of my support network and my advice and my time. And I feel like I'm good at reading a fight. I'm good at knowing, you know, ways in and ways out. And yeah, I will never be anywhere else other than boxing. I work on a few things outside of the sport and little side projects and that, but you know, boxing's my love, boxing's my foundation. Boxing's, you know, I've graduated from the school of boxing, and yeah, I love it still. I love the business, I love the sport, the opportunities it gives people to change their life. But yeah, I'm at a position where from my boxing career I feel like I've done enough. I've set up my family now, and yeah, my main thing is making sure that my kids have the best life possible, and as well as enjoying myself and living life myself. But yeah, my main priority is just making sure that they're sorted.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what's most important, you know, spending the quality time with your kids. And I was just going to move on, obviously, to the big one on Saturday. Is it the biggest heavyweight boxing rematch of all time?
Well, the last one was probably the biggest heavyweight fight of all time, potentially, in the sense of undisputed in the modern era. You know, I can't really speak for the times before me. There was many a great fight, many a great night, and so many fighters that we could sit and talk about. But yeah, the Usyk Fury one was tremendous. I worked on a TalkSport show, and like I said, I was missing out on so many things. I actually was, you know, for the 5v5, for that fight, they wanted me out here. They wanted me in and amongst it. They wanted me presenting. They wanted me doing some behind-the-scenes stuff. But because I was in camp, I couldn't. So I did the TalkSport of the first one, and what a fight that was. What a night that was.
Unbelievable.
And if it's anything like that, then we're in for a great fight. But it's the drama that we like. We like the drama. Like as a boxing fan, we like the drama. We like the jeopardy. We like the unknown. Now a lot of people I think are favouring Usyk. I know I am. I was favouring him for the first one, but that's not really a slight on Tyson. It's more when I was an amateur, Usyk, Lomachenko's were by far and away the best around. And if at any time in the last 20 years you probably asked me, do I think Usyk is the best heavyweight in the world, I would have said yes, because he used to win everything at cruiserweight and then go up at heavyweight, win everything there, qualify for the Olympics and drop down and win that gold medal. He's always been sort of like an alien, and yeah, I find it very extremely nearly impossible to pick anyone against Usyk, to be honest. I just think he's that good.
Do you think after the first fight, because I know a lot of people highlight those middle rounds where Tyson Fury was in control, do you think on the evidence of that, was Tyson Fury his toughest opponent?
Potentially. I think Bradis was a terrific fight when they fought at the cruiserweight, a close fight. But if I'm honest, I feel like Usyk kind of does that. He gets 4 rounds up, and then he lets you fight with him for 4 rounds, and then he finishes very strong with a fresh engine.
Championship round fighter.
Yeah, but he lets people in the middle rounds work and have some success, and obviously he's not always accounting for all of their success, but he's making them work. And then when he sort of puts 30% more into the last 4 rounds, and he's always fresher, because he's a smaller, he's more efficient, easier to power his body than someone's far bigger, just by science. So his rhythm, how he's constantly oscillating left and right, then punching off different angles and different rhythms, he's really one of a kind. And I think the main thing that I'm really seeing in this time is, look, he looks really, really happy to be here. And I don't know if I'm saying the same about Tyson, if I'm honest.
Yeah, well, there's quite a contrast there, isn't there? I mean, you look at the workouts yesterday. Tyson, not many words. Very serious. Didn't really do anything in the open work. It's no shadow boxing. Usyk, the complete opposite. Very happy. So I think that's intriguing going into the fight this week as well. That Tyson is in that kind of zone, you could say. He's very serious. We've never seen Tyson Fury like this before. It's different,
Yeah, and I think we'll find out on fight night really if it was for better or for worse. My concern might be that after a long career, after we know that Tyson's had his battles as well, and I'm a fan of Tyson as well. But my concern is that if his mindset and his body language is one of, I weren't walking away from this fight because of many a reason, the opportunity, the financial gain, the event, the chance to go undisputed, but at the same time, it was time restrictive. He had to fight within a certain frame. He couldn't sort of go away and maybe get another couple of fights in, get that confidence back a bit. And I'm just hoping that it's not from a place of not really wanting to be here, because I know what that feels like and I know what it looks like. And people looked at my last build-up and probably went, "Oh, Sonny's an awful lot quieter than last time." And when you're really up for it, you're just taking everything in your stride, and that's what it looks like Usyk's doing. And when you're not as up for it, you kind of go within yourself a bit, and you maybe act out of a little bit of character, and maybe you try and play the nice guy a little bit to sort of shelter what you might see. It might be coming in the next couple of rings.
We don't know, yeah.
But that's that's not me speaking for Tyson. That's me speaking from my own personal experience of my last fight, when I no longer had faith in the strength and the physicality of my body and the conditioning of it. Even though I was trying my hardest to train up to it, I was training hard and getting little niggles, getting little injuries. I snapped ankles, I hurt hands, had to get them injected. My elbow was going, my collarbone, my shoulder, and it just kind of puts a weight on your mind. And the moment I said I'd retired, I was going to retire anyway, even if I won that fight. And the moment I said I retired, I should have been devastated. I wasn't. The only time I really got upset was when I was speaking about my kids, on the press conference, and that's the only thing I really care about. Like I just said, and yeah.
I hope you didn't mind me bringing that up, because I think a lot of fathers that watched that interview completely connected with you on that level.
Yeah, and I've always worn my heart on my sleeve. I know a lot of people just think maybe I was saying stuff or doing stuff, Like, I've always worn my heart on my sleeve. I don't know whose presence in my life really is gonna turn me into a liar. As I was a kid, I was kind of scared of my dad's reaction to everything. I was a compulsive liar because I had to be, and you know, since I've grown up, I feel like I lose a part of myself. So I don't mind being honest. Obviously, I can't be going into a fight and saying, "Oh, just to let you know, both my ankles are fucked, my hands fucked, my elbows fucked." Like, obviously, you're not gonna say that to your opponent, but just always try being honest and as real as I can be. And look, it's no one really cares what goes on with me apart from me, and that's the way I see it. You know, the people that are really close to me and really care about me. Apart from that, on a wider spectrum, it's an entertainment business, it's the show business, they need drama, and I still think I was always good value for money in whatever I was doing. And even when I did turn around to my trainer when he was passionately trying to give me what we're doing, I just said, oh, I don't want to be here. It was more, I did want to be here in the sense of I'm in the ring and I'm fighting. It weren't like, oh, pull me out. It was, I haven't got that wind. I haven't, like right now, I'm fighting to fight rather than fighting to win. And yeah, that was my mindset at that point. And I always enjoy a fight. Like, I enjoy the adrenaline it gets. And by the time the fight got stopped, though, I thought I was back in the fight. I thought, like, now I felt like, okay, it weren't my fight in the sense of boxing and moving, but for whatever reason, I didn't really have that in my legs. Galal had a lot of success very early on, and I was digging myself out of a hole from early. But by the time the fight got stopped, I couldn't believe it, to be honest. I was like, what? Like, I've never been in that position before. Like, when I was against Bam, he was hitting me a 30-punch combination, bouncing my head all over. The ref didn't look about stopping it. You know what I mean? They was letting me take my beating. So, and I thought I was still throwing back. I was just, you know, trying to find moments in between his work and wait for him to slow down and then come out with my own work. And, you know, the fight went in the 6th. But look, no bitterness from me. I was very happy to hand an old rival, an old friend, Galal, the torch, the belt, as it were. And yeah, I've always been grateful to be involved. I've always been grateful to be here. What people don't realise is when I was turning pro, my weight division was at 8 o'clock fighting for 20, 30,000 pounds. That was the reality of it. And you know, we built into something, you know, that when Sonny Edwards was on the card, it was headlining, and there was good fights on underneath. I've had some really, really good fighters fight on my undercards over the years. When I actually really think about it, it's been crazy. And for someone that's 5'3", weighs 112 pounds when they fight, that's unheard of.
Yeah, no, and listen, myself and everyone, we congratulate you on an amazing career. And I think a lot of people are excited to see what you do after it. They really are. They're interested because of, you know, the character that you are, and, you know, as you said, you wear your heart on your sleeve, and people like that. You know, that's it, and that's a great quality in an individual. So this is great. You've let me be me for a long time in this interview, compared to the most interviews this week. You've been pressuring me for a couple of days to try and do a Sonny Edwards.
You know why? Because I've never thought of it. I never thought of it because I genuinely think that me is impossible because I was South London till I was 18 years old.
Yeah, in Sheffield, right? Yeah.
And then I moved to Sheffield, and then most of the conversations I'm having every day is with like a Lyndon Arthur or a JK or my friends from Birmingham or friends from Leeds, like Ishmael. It's like, and when we're sat around for hours, how does our dialect get formed? It gets formed by
I'll try and do our dialect, and it's like kind of like when you try to do it, you know, it's different because like I'm in South London, then I'm in Sheffield, and then I'm talking to every people in the north. I'm about 40% there, mate.
That was good though. That was good. And do you know what? Yeah. Yeah, I've got a few friends, and shout out Patricia. She's a boxer, and she takes the piss out of me all the time. Yeah. And as soon as she went into it, that came into my head. So
shout out to Patricia. Sonny Edwards, thank you so much for your time, my man. You're an absolute legend, and it's great to have you here. It's great to have you here, around the Hilton, and you know, getting your take on this fight this weekend, pal. Always a pleasure. You're a gent. Shake my hand. What a gent.
That's it.
Oh yeah, we got to get an oosh into the camera. This is we're doing it. Oosh TV.
Oosh TV.
Yeah. On the 3,
So how do I do it?
2. Just a big oosh. On 3, 2, 1. Oosh.